May Khudamul Ahmadiyya UK always live up to the expectations that I have for it. May you play the role of the best Khudamul Ahmadiyya in the world. May the Khudamul Ahmadiyya of other countries learn from your good examples.
है बादा मस्त बादा आशाम अहमदिया चलता है दौर में
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. By the grace of Allah, Khilafat has been in this country for around 37 years now, and it has brought lots of blessings. And because of those blessings, Jamaat generally has grown administratively and organizationally and spiritually as well. Especially the young generations have benefited from it, I would say, the most. In terms of Khudamul Ahmadiyya, the growth of Khudamul Ahmadiyya and the development of our youth in this country is totally because of the blessings of Khilafat. So I still remember when Hazrat Caliph bin Aziz appointed me as Sadr Majlis. Although I was working as Naib Sadr before, but my experience on ground was not that much. And we can say that I was not aware of the ground realities of the youth in this country. So after being appointed as Sadr Majlis, so at my first mulaqat, I took my amla, and when I went inside the room, Hazrat said, "Okay, sit down and show me your amla." So I just presented the amla to Hazrat bin Aziz, and then Hazrat very keenly observed each and every name and asked lots of questions. So I was not aware of that many about their abilities. Then Hazrat asked me, "Why you made this amla? Why you have appointed this person in this specific position?" Then he was asked me, "Give me the list of regional qaideen, because the role of regional qaideen is quite important and they are going to work on ground." So then Hazrat asked me one by one, and then Hazrat said, "Do you know them personally, each and every one?" I said, "No, Hazrat, I don't." Then Hazrat said, "As a Sadr, your job is to know each and every qaid, not only regional qaid, local qaid, your amla member, completely. Get as much as possible information about them. And it's your task to know them by name for each and every qaid." And I think at that time we have around 90 to 100 majalis. So I thought it's a big task, but by the grace of Allah, slowly, we managed to know all the qaideens in person. So after getting the advice that if you're recommending someone or appointing someone as part of your team, you should know their abilities and their skills. So Hazur said that if you want to become a good Sadr, then try not to sit in your office and feel yourself that you are a boss. And because the work of Khudamul Ahmadiyya is not just only feeling yourself sitting in an office and signing documents and think that you have achieved your task. The purpose of Khudamul Ahmadiyya is to go out and serve the Jamaat and the nation, like doing lots of Wakar amals, lots of charitable activities, and lots of outdoor activities where the nation needs you. So these are the purpose of establishing Khudamul Ahmadiyya. And I think that was a great advice, and we gave that advice to, I also passed on this advice to all our National Amla members, and I think with this advice, by the grace of Allah, all our Amla members and teams, they were out on ground to serve and to work. And after having this mulaqat, then I requested a letter to Hazur. I said, "Hazur, please pray. We have started our work, and prayers are requested." So then Hazur replied, may Allah give Khudam al-Ahmadiyya best workers and best team members who can work and support for the betterment of Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya. The exact words I think were, Allah Ta'ala behtareen sathi ata kare. So by the grace of Allah, we have started our work. But Hazur was very conscious about how the next generation and the Khudam al-Ahmadiyya's office bearers will act in different situations. Because Hazur was seeing some sort of bossy attitude within office bearers, and it was worrying Hazur. So at one time I received a letter instruction by Hazrat Caliph al-Masih that there is hadith that the true leaders of the nation are those who can serve them better. And that was the advice. I think by the grace of Allah, we, myself and our whole team, we passed this on to each and every office bearer of Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya. And it's not very easy to act upon. It's a very simple hadith, but in true terms, when you are in different situations, you can realize that no, it's not that easy to just 100%, act upon this hadith. You need to sacrifice your egos and emotions when you want, if you truly want to follow this instruction of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we are getting too many instructions, as by the grace of Allah, those who are living in UK and they have the opportunity and blessed opportunity to get direct guidance on day-to-day matters as well. And these guidance received by Hazrat Caliph al-Masih are developing the organizational structure of different auxiliaries and of Jamaat as a whole. And it's also helping the member of the Jamaat to grow spiritually. So, as I said, Hazur was extremely worried about our next generation, how they are going to behave in different situations. Because of the presence of Khilafat, UK Jamaat was growing day by day. Peoples are coming from all over the world to settle in UK. And that is the reason that Jamaat was growing. And when something is growing, then it also brings some challenges with it. No? And in this sense, Hazrat was extremely worried because of the growth of Jamaat. The role of office bearers are going to be extremely important, and the role of the next generation who are going to deal different tasks and perform different tasks is going to be very important. So at once I remember Hazur got some report about some harsh attitude of office bearer. During the mulaqat, Hazur took his Quran from the shelf and Hazur pointed in verse of Quranic verse. And the meaning of the verse was, Allah was addressing the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and mentioning how his heart was filled with love for Allah's creation. And Allah Ta'ala is saying that this is the love, that's why people are around you. If they see the harshness and they feel the harshness in your heart, they might run away. As you said, if this instruction is for Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and if this happened to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you are nothing to have or to show harshness. The people will go away, simply. So not only you, but all the office bearers, and especially the youth, because youth, why I'm saying youth again and again, because the youth are going to be the future leaders of the community. They are going to be those who are going to be trained the other generations. So basically the youth is the foundation of any community. Hazur wants to lay the foundation for the future. That's why Hazur said, tell all of your office bearers, never show harshness or arrogance or in their behavior, in their attitude. If they are office bearers, then it's just Allah's blessing on them that they are working and serving the community. It's not something that is making them better person for others. No? So it's just that Jamaat asked them to perform some duties and help them. This is the only reason they are the office bearers. The members of the Jamaat are advised to obey their office bearers, because without obedience, no community can survive or grow. But it doesn't mean that the office bearer should in turn thinks that I'm something very special and they are all, they must obey me. So these things Hazrat was very conscious about the new generation and next generation, because especially office bearers. Then Hazur realized that there is how we can address this issue. So Hazur said, how many qaedeens you have? So I think at that time, we have around 90 to 100 majalis, and I said, we have this much qaedeen. Hazrat, try to train your local leaders. If you train your local leaders, ground leaders, then you will see a difference. And this suggestion was also come from one of our National Amla members. So we, in our team, we started a Qaedeen Forum program, and every year we just ask all the Qaedeens from all over the country to come for 2 days, spend a weekend with us, overnight stay, and we are blessed to get the Jamia building, and we prepared very nice different programs for their educational development, for their leadership skills, and for their religious knowledge. And we received very good feedback from Qaedeen, and how to deal with people, how to, it was basically a practical forum for them. And in that practical forum, we taught them how to do the house visits, how to deal with this person who is very, very inactive or very, away from the system of the Jamaat, how you show patience in different situations. So these are some practical, and then also we taught them about the institution of the Jamaat, how the Jamaat system works, and what are the blessings of the institution of Khilafat, why Allah established Khilafat within the community, and what is the importance of Khilafat. And these are type of activities, but also their personal development, intellectual development, and administrative development was the objective to get out of that Qaedeen Forum. No? And Alhamdulillah, we were quite successful in those forums.
And the first thing I wish to remind you is that Qaed means leader. And proper leader is someone who leads by example and takes his people on a path which he walks upon himself. Certainly, the responsibility of Qaed, or for that matter, of any Jamaat or auxiliary office bearer, is not at all insignificant or ordinary. Rather, their duty, regardless of the level at which they are serving, demands that they strive their utmost to be an excellent role model for the other members of the Jamaat. In this regard, it is of paramount importance that all Jamaat or auxiliary office bearers have a firm conviction in their hearts that Allah, the Almighty, is looking at them at all times and will hold them accountable for their action.
Whenever the members of the community or the office bearers of the organization of the Jamaat, they are doing something good, it always makes Hazur happy, and it gives him a smile on his face, and he's a bit satisfied that Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, they are understanding their responsibilities. But on certain occasions, you can see that happiness more. So I still remember that we have different ijtimas, and every ijtima Hazur was extremely happy. But when we did our ijtima on the theme of Taluk Billah, communion with Allah, and Hazur was extremely happy. And Hazur was asking, okay, what people are saying, do they have any personal experiences? So at that year, I think we asked people to just write down their experiences about their personal relationship with Allah. And we were quite amazed at how, by the grace of Allah, the Ahmadi youth have, in good numbers, they have that personal relationship, acceptance of prayers and some other experiences. And at 2019's Ijtima, our current Sadr, Khudam al-Ahmadiyya Abdul Quddus Arif Sahib, in his Ijtima speech, he mentioned many of those incidents as well. And but I always feel that whenever a youth, especially, or a young member of our Jamaat expresses his relationship of Allah in acceptance of prayer, or any dream he saw which will come true later, and it makes Hazur very satisfied and very happy. And because we are the spiritual community, and this is the purpose of the community, to make the bond and relation with Allah. And if the youth are making their bonds with Allah Ta'ala, it means that the life of the spiritual community is going further. Hazur always guides us that relationship with your personal relationship with God is extremely important. And with reference to the Prophet ﷺ, during many meetings, Hazur explained this point, that Prophet ﷺ said that whenever you are arguing with someone, you can only prove need for God. But whether God actually exists or not is going to be, you are going to, certainly sure only if you have your own experience with God. So personal experience with God is extremely important, and that's why the theme of Taluk Billah made Hazur extremely happy, and Hazur extremely happy that our youngsters, they have that personal relationship and bond with Allah.
Most of you will be aware of the famous saying of Hazrat Muslim Maud Radhiyallahu Anhu, in which he addressed Khudam by saying that nations cannot be reformed without the reformation of youth. These enlightened words have not only become the main slogan of Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, but have also become the basis of its activities and schemes. The reason Hazrat Muslim Maud Radhiyallahu Anhu assigned this slogan to Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya was to emphasize how important it was for the youth to not only gain secular education, but above and beyond this, to constantly develop their relationship with Allah the Almighty.
Hazur was not also worried of our new generation's relationship with this institution of Jamaat and with Center. So I received a letter from Hazur who said I find out that our youth in some areas or in different areas of the country are not that engaged. So make a committee and who go and visit each and every household there and tell them that we are from Markaz, and we are here to ask if you have any issues locally and centrally, and how we can help you, and convey Hazur's salam and do the home visits. No? And who said make a Sahibzada or Mohtam Tarbiyat member of that committee and give them the task to visit the different parts of the country and visit the youngsters of the country and ask them if they have any issues, any reservations about Nizam-e-Jamaat or their local Jamaat, local administration, or from center, and what they feel, how we can work better in terms of making them closer to Jamaat. And it was a huge blessed scheme, and it was started directly under Hazur's guidance, and by the grace of Allah, then the whole National Amla, they did exceptional house visits, and I think it was the first time that we met each and every household in the country, and from north to south, and it was by the grace of Allah a very successful project. As Subsu said, you should repeat it with a certain intervals. I think it's required to do the home visit from the center. Technically, home visits is the job of the local administration, but after a certain time, if you think that there's the bridge between the gap is widening between the locals and the center, then the center should arrange some programs to bridge that gap. And is another pledge Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, the members of Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, they made.
I wish to present an excerpt of the Prophet Messiah al-Islam, regarding the spirit of sincere service of humanity that he desired to see amongst the members of his Jamaat. The Prophet ﷺ said, sincerity towards others and love for humanity is a part of faith. The definition of the highest moral values is that sincere kindness and sympathy be professed towards all humanity without any expectation of reward or recompense. This is what is known a true humanity. The Prophet ﷺ further states, Allah the Almighty never forsakes those people who hold within their hearts sincere love for humanity. These precious words of the Prophet ﷺ should be your guiding light and remain etched in your heart and mind at all times.
So I still remember that there was a big floods happened in UK, and Hazrat asked me what Mirza Ghulam Ahmadiyya is doing in this regard. And then by the grace of Allah, we went to those affected areas and we did lots of work there. And sometimes because of the legislations here, and it was a learning curve for us, if God forbid anything happens in the UK in terms of floods or any disaster, how we are going to deal with it. And at that time, our Naib Sadr, current Naib Sadr, Yusuf Aftab Sahab, was Muhtam Khidmat Khalq, and he and his team, they worked extremely hard in terms of going out and meeting with people and reaching them and offering their help. And on certain occasions, we just drove the whole day in flooded affected areas, and the authority said, no, so thank you very much for your kindness, but at the moment we don't need that help. But what our teams did, they just gave the card of Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, and in that card it was a couplet of the Promised Messiah was written, that it was a Farsi couplet, that Mera Maqsood wa Matloob wa Tamanna Khudmat Khalq Ast. So the translation of that is that my purpose and heartfelt desire is to serve humanity. It's my job, it's my faith, and it's my way of work. And it was quite attractive quote. But Alhamdulillah, on certain places, we were also able to help the locals, people there. And I think I was also there at one place, and I was extremely happy to see that there were two organizations basically, those who were working there. One was the military, and one were our Qudam. And it was in Wales, Wales, and we were just making a small dam, a village dam for the villagers. And because Ghulam Ahmadiyya was rich in his human resource, so after the floods, when the people wants to move in to their houses, and the whole house was just filled with water and with mud, and so on certain occasions they just cleaned the house for old age people, and they make it in a better condition to live, and they make the house in a better condition place for them to stay. And especially the elderly people in those areas, they were extremely grateful and thankful for this help. No? But another benefit which we got from just giving our cards and offering our help to each and every area. So at certain areas the councils were in charge, and some certain areas the military were in charge. So we gave our cards and tell that this is our youth association and we are there to help, and if you need any help, we are available. We are rich in our human resource. So how they work is I think every day or weekly they send their weekly report to the Ministry of Defence. So we also received a letter from Ministry of Defence, appreciation letter, and also from Prime Minister. He mentioned our efforts and our support during flood. So this is all because of obeying and following Huzur's instructions, that what you are doing in flood relief work now. So then we started doing planning, and before that we were not we were thinking that we might not be able to do that work, but only with Hazur's these words, I think we were able to even get a positive, not only in terms of helping others, but also we get a positive feedbacks from other government officials. Hazrat Caliph al-Masih was extremely conscious and worried about as I said again, said it many times, about the tarbiyat and development of our youth. And on many occasions, Hazur was quite gracious and in giving his time. So I still remember Hazur, once a delegation came from from some part of the country, and we just requested Hazur if we can say salam to Hazur. Hazrat said, no, you bring them for mulaqat, I can spend my time for some time for them. No? And there were those those who didn't have the chance to meet Hazur for a long time. No? So Hazur just spent a little time with them, and they were extremely grateful and thankful. But what's happened that because few of them, they were not quite close with Jamaat and not engaged with Jamaat, but after seeing Hazur and having a mulaqat with Hazur, it changed their life. No? So many of them said that we are going back and we are bringing our families and our children to see Hazur and get prayers and get advice and blessings from the institution of Khilafat. And then Hazur said to me that this is a good initiative, continue it. No? So by the grace of Allah, then, and as you said, and your focus should be on the youth, especially the youngsters, 15 onwards, Khudam and Tfal, or senior Tfal or young Khudam. As you said, your two instructions specifically you gave, that they should be young and they should most likely they should be born and raised in this country. And that's why that initiative we have started, and by the grace of Allah, it was a huge success. And it was and Hazur, I was saying, Hazur invested a lot of time in the development of those groups. Now, so from all over the country, we brought around many Khudam, young Khudams, who then came and they stayed in the guest houses around Fazal Mosque, and they enjoyed, they prayed behind Hazur, and we have organized some of nice lectures for them. And more importantly, the mulaqat of Hazur was a highlight. And Hazur gave lots of time, lots of questions, and it was the time when the majority of the youngsters, they said, first time we can say that we are developing our personal relation with Hazrat Caliph al-Masih. And inshallah ta'ala will continue, inshallah ta'ala, in this, and will grow in developing that relation. And one of the Khadim said, now inshallah I will go back and I will bring my family, because they didn't meet Hazur for a while. So I tell them that come and see Hazur. There's a great blessings in seeing Hazur. No? And many of them, then they continue writing letters to Hazur. It was another blessings of those mulaqats. No? So basically it was to make the relationship for their spiritual and personal development and for the betterment of Jamaat. And it helped us a lot, and that initiative was directly, I would say, 100% credit, I think, will go to Hazur, because of, if he don't, because of his time and because of his advice and because of his prayers, we were able to achieve that target, because Hazur was extremely busy, and he's extremely busy, and to getting Hazur half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hour time is not a small thing. But the point is that, the Caliph al-Masih is sacrificing each and every minute of his life and each and every faculty of his, just giving it to establish and develop and grow the Jamaat. Na? So another, I think, benefit from that, it was a perception that in the country, I felt that if you want to do a mulaqat with Hazur, only a certain people or certain class can do the mulaqats. Na? Or if you are Waqf, then you have a big chance to do the classes and mulaqats with Hazur. But these open Jamaat mulaqats, I think there was initiated and with Hazur's, under Hazur's supervision and his blessings, and it made a big change in the general members of the Jamaat, and especially the youth, that we can go and do mulaqat with Hazur and many of them, they went to Jamia after that. They come to Jamia, and they want to become a murabbi and they want to serve Jamaat. Some of them become waqf in Zindagi. They're serving in different positions now. So this is the true fruit and blessings of Khalifatul Masih's prayers and time. Hazur is, I think those who are working with Hazur and directly working with Hazur, they know that Hazur don't like the person who are just keeping things themselves and not sharing things, and those who don't have the heart to and credit. Or some people, they just love getting credit of their work, na? And Hazrat said, no, if you're doing the work for Allah Ta'ala, then the credit is not that important. And don't think that people are what they think about these tasks. Na? So once I shared an idea with Hazur that we are going to do this. Na? So I think after just next day, so other auxiliaries office bearers were there and from other countries, and Hazur shared that idea with them that India is planning to do that, so UK. So then I just said I also mentioned this to them. I said, now we haven't implemented that yet, and people might think that we have copied their idea. As you said, this is not a nice thinking. If you're doing things for Allah Ta'ala, and then don't think that how people will think. You will get reward from God by doing good work, na? But if you think that you will keep in yourself and no one else will do that good work which you are doing, then that is not a blessing. Then as we explained that fastabiqul khairat, it doesn't mean that you just run yourself and go ahead and the rest of the people will left behind. You said your job, if you want to truly follow the instruction of fastabiqul khairat, the interpretation of it is that when you go ahead further, then look back, and if you see that one of your brother is not keeping up with you, then help him to reach equal to you. No? So as you said, this is not, and as you said, then taking credits and doing that we have done this first, and we are the first one who initiated this. Now, as you said, these are the childish things to think or say. But I think, as you said, this is normal in Jamaat. They think that if we do something before anyone, that it means that we have done something. We are super people, no? Supermans. But I think that was not the style of Hazur to do the work. So the interpretation of fastabiqul khairat, Hazur said, is then if you see someone is behind you, then help him to come to your level. So second most important thing, and administratively and for the continuation of the Jamaat and in terms of training the youth, is the purpose of the auxiliary organization is basically when establishing the organization, as Muslim Maud Raziyallahu said, that this is the backup. And Hazur always said to me, within Ahmadiyya, this is normally the habit within our office bearers, that we normally hold things with ourselves. We think that someone will, if we tell or train different people, then there's a chance that if they do good work, and Hazur will see that someone is doing better work, then he might take over. As I said, this is the extremely poor thinking of a nation. That no nation can grow and develop if they think, or if the seniors think like that. Hazur said, now my advice to you is to train for each and every post. Make second or third or fourth line now. Train teams who can come and take over, and whatever you have, or whatever skill or whatever knowledge you have, try to train and transfer to the next generation. Because no community will continue, or no community can grow without training the next generations and giving them the tasks and developing them. So this Hazur felt this in different departments, that people are not, there's some seniors are not even giving training to the new comers, and they're just wasting their times. So they're not developing them, and especially in Ahmadiyya, Hazur said, now your job is to train new teams and those who can come and take over.
Indeed, it was to ensure the continued progress of the Jamaat that the second Khalifa, Radiallahu anhu, founded the auxiliary organizations of Ansar, Lajna and Khuda. In this regard, Hazrat Muslim Maud Radiallahu anhu stated that if the central Jamaat and auxiliary administrations worked in tandem to their full capacity, then overall speed of fulfilling the objectives of the Jamaat would be greatly enhanced. Furthermore, he stated that the auxiliaries also served as a safety net to ensure that the progress of the Jamaat never faltered. If there is any weakness, laziness, or deficiency amongst the central Jamaat administration or within a particular auxiliary body, the other bodies are there to bridge the gap and to take up the mantle to ensure that the high spiritual objectives of our community are fulfilled and that the community of the Prophet Messiah Islam continues to march forward.
For administrative training, I remember that once Majlis Ahmadiyya was a little bit unhappy with some other departments, and they said, I think we should report this to Hazur and take his guidance and help. So when I took the matter to Hazur, Hazrat was just calmly smiled and he said, you know, if you are thinking that I'm going to resolve this issue for you, so it's not going to happen. So I will show you the proper way or proper manner how to deal with these issues. As you said, I'm not going to spoon feed you and do things for you as you are a child. MashaAllah, Ahmadiyya, they have the ability to deal with things. So I will tell you the way of doing things.